What's up, Tribal Acre fam? Welcome to another episode of Farming Land with Brand here on Tribal Acres. All right, so guys, want to talk to you a little bit about an emergency we had just like 3 days ago. It was bad. Anybody who knows, or if you live in Florida, anybody who lives in Florida, we haven't had rain in like 3 months. We had one rain come through a while back. I don't remember no when. It wasn't much, but we had a little bit of rain. Other than that, we've been dry. I mean, super dry. Have you seen any videos in the past? Everything was dead. All of our grass was dead. All we had was sand going on. I have had no pasture grass for cows, and even the pasture grass we have had, it probably wasn't in a pasture. It was somewhere else, and only in our low-lying areas like this one right here are we actually been producing like abundant grass. Because this part of our land is low, we have had a great regrowth, which is nice because this pasture can still be eaten on once we move the cows back in. But during that time we moved them out because they had already eaten it all down. We've done 2 pasture changes since then. First from pasture 1 to pasture 2, and then from pasture 2 to pasture 3, which is the big pasture they're in now, which was just dead. But I wanted to get them moved out, allow them to lay some manure down everywhere. Then we're going to spread it and then seed it. That way we can produce a really good grass once we get some more rain. But anyways, grass has been dead, right? So everybody knows when it rains after a long time, water doesn't absorb into the ground as easy. So as you guys know, we have 3 tractors that we run Cornish hens in. We usually run them on this big hill up here. This one up here, it's higher ground up for us. Most of the water drains off of it, whatever. As you can see, there's only 1 tractor in here right now, which is these guys. These are our current oldest Cornish hens we have. We're actually, all of our batches are rather young right now, all about a week, 2 weeks behind each other. But when we had that rain come through, it was a bad storm. I mean, high winds, probably like 70-80 miles an hour almost. I could be wrong, but it was high. It was very high winds, and it started flooding everywhere. And after the first bit of it in the morning, I came out, checked the Cornish hens. The area they were sitting in was already flooding. So they were soaking wet because the wind was blowing so hard. There was nothing covering them. It was just getting everywhere. So we moved them a little bit from this area right here. All this area was covered in water. We moved them forward to a spot that wasn't covered in water, laid down fresh hay, was hoping to miss the rest of the rain. Okay, about 30 minutes later, downpour again, high winds again. Come out in the middle of the rain, chickens are soaked, standing in water. So what do you do when you have all of your profit birds, all of the birds that make, all these birds make money? Not just they only make money, 2, A, their lives. We don't want to kill them or them to die before they're supposed to, and B, they are something that makes us profit. So these guys are in water. So the first thing we have to do is A, we have to get them dry. B, well, A, we have to get them out of the tractor first, because they're going to die if not. B, we have to figure out how to get them dry and into a location. So having those areas available, super important. So if this has happened to you ever, I want to kind of tell you how you can save your birds if they get wet. Some of you may know, but I'm just going to go ahead and let you know in this video. So these guys, there was like 60 birds in here. 2 birds were dead already in the midst of moving them because they drowned. They were jumping all over each other. These guys are jumping right now because, well, it's almost time to eat. 20 minutes away. But they were jumping all over each other, so of course 2 drowned in the process of them getting out. That's fine. There's nothing we can do about that. We were moving as quickly as possible in the water they were in. We moved this batch. Well, that was the first batch to go. We moved it into the front side of our brooder. Okay, guys? The most important thing is, of course, get them out of the current condition that they're in. Standing water for sure. If they're all getting soaked, this is also very important. Get them out into a dry area and then immediately get them under a heat lamp. The heat lamp's going to help dry them out much faster, and the cold that's going to set in on them, especially when they don't have full feathers, is going to dry them much faster and keep them warm. So that's the most important thing, is to get them under a heat lamp and in a dry location. So we did that with that first batch. Then we had to come rescue batch number 2. This is our batch of like 30 birds. We had a really bad batch from the people we got these from, because we had to get them from somebody else, because normal people we get them from, they didn't have any available. So we ended up getting only 30 of, this is actually a replacement batch. So we had lost some birds in this batch. It's not as big as we wanted it to be. But these 30 birds also got moved. Okay, they got moved as well into brooder number, well, the original brooder, which is our shed. I could fit that many birds on one of the sides. They were next to the lambs, so they got put in that brooder. Immediately under hot water. 3 of these birds were on the verge of death, by the way, guys. 3 of them, 3 on the verge of death, laying on their sides, breathing heavily, almost dead. Then the third tractor I showed you in the beginning, that's our camo tractor. It doesn't have a number, but that was tractor number 1. This is tractor number 2. That one's camo tractor is what I call it. So we have a tractor number 3 that's being built this week for another batch that's in the brooder that's about to come out as well. But those birds had to get moved. And in this last batch, they weren't in such a flooded area, but it was getting really wet. I didn't have any more brooder space available, but their bodies weren't as wet, and they're a little bit older, about a week older than our oldest batch that's over here. So we loaded those birds up in our crate as well, that was here, and we loaded the birds up. They're not going to move when they're cold. They refuse. The tractor, you try and move it, they're not going to move because they're wet. They're freaking out. You got to figure out something. So we packed them up from here, took the tractor. I knew one dry spot where I could see it, moved it to there, put the birds in it, put tons of hay in there so they could dry off and be in a dry location. And I pointed the tractor away from the rain to where it was on the wide end, so that it was not getting in the middle where I put the hay. So that was another thing as well. If you don't have a brooder space available, the next thing would be to do is to move them to the driest location your tractor's at. And if you can prepare for this, if you're getting a heavy rain, I suggest it. Normally a rain doesn't stand that bad, but we hadn't rained in months, guys, so it just wrecked our lives. But it went down like as soon as it was done raining, but during the rain we would have lost all of our birds. So we did that, and in total, guys, we lost 2 birds in that whole process. Even with those 3 that were on the verge of dying, once we got them under the heat lamp on fresh hay, dry ground, they all came back. So just some crucial things for saving your birds if they get wet or are in a situation where your ground's starting to flood and you got to move them quickly, especially birds this young. Most of them are, the tractor number 1 batch is just 2 weeks old. The tractor number 2 batch is 3, and camo tractor is 4. So we got them moved, and that's kind of how you can solve that situation if it happens or arises. We avoided tragedy on our Cornish hens, so thankful for that, and actually being aware of that as well, and keeping, you know, our birds alive. So I just wanted to share that video with you guys about just some absolute just disaster that almost happened, and thankful that we got it taken care of and the birds kept safe and still alive, thriving. So thanks for watching the video today, guys. I'll see you guys next time on another episode of Farm and Land with Brand. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, comment on the videos, guys. If you ever had a situation like this happen on your farm or your homestead, please let me know, and maybe what you did to solve that situation as well. But that definitely worked for us, so just wanted to give you guys a heads up if you ever run into that, how to solve that problem quickly and efficiently and to save your flock. So I'll see you guys next time.